In the first year of my marriage, at my birthday banquet, a courtesan appeared wearing a silk gown identical to mine. My husband's face turned icy cold. Guards, strip her of that dress. Though he was clearly protecting me, not a shred of warmth stirred in my heart, for I knew it was he who had once spent a fortune on the singer and vowed to elope with her. The 15th day of the 6th month was my birthday. Zhao Shuo hosted a banquet at the Moonlight Pavilion, inviting the capital's most renowned music troupe to entertain the guests. For this day, I had specially ordered a water-red silk gown from Liuxiang's shop. Its hem was embroidered with silver thread, shimmering like rippling waves under the moonlight. When Zhao Shuo saw me, his eyes lit up. I smiled and showed him, "How is it? You look like a goddess," Zhao Shuo said with a smile. "Tonight, everyone at the banquet will surely envy me for having such a beautiful and intelligent wife." Sure enough, when we appeared together at the banquet, my attire drew a chorus of admiration from the ladies. "Jiyin, that silk skirt is truly beautiful. I'll have one made for myself tomorrow." "Sister, you're being silly. How could I wear the same as the birthday guest?" "True. Besides, this dress only looks good on Jean." The ladies chattered and laughed together. I glanced across the room. At the men's table, Zhao Shuo sent me a tender smile. But in the next instant, his expression changed. He looked behind me, his dark eyes clouding over. I turned around and froze instantly. The sound of silk and bamboo instruments filled the air as a singer in a water-red gown glided onto the stage. Her jet-black hair like ink, her skin whiter than snow. But what truly stunned me was, the gown she wore was identical to mine. The entire hall fell silent, eyes darting between me and the singer. Finally, Zhao Shuo leapt to his feet, smashing his jade cup to the floor. Absurd. The music abruptly ceased. The singer stood frozen, utterly flustered. "Servants, strip her of that dress." Attendants immediately advanced. The water-red skirt fell to the ground, leaving only a snow-white undergarment. The singer knelt, her figure appearing pitifully small in the night breeze. "I bought this dress at Liuxiang's shop. I truly didn't know it would offend the mistress." Kneeling in the cold wind, her thin shoulders trembled uncontrollably. She was clearly crying from fright. Zhao Shuo's expression was icy. "Out." The singer rose, her gaze lingering greedily on Zhao Shuo's face. Yet in an instant, she lowered her eyes once more and turned to leave. Zhao Shuo stepped beside me, clasping my hand and murmuring, "Madam, that was merely an interlude. Shall we continue the banquet?" I remained silent. After a long while, I turned my head, met Zhao Shuo's eyes, and murmured, "Zhao Shuo." She was never on the list for the music troupe. "Tell me, who sent her here?" That night's birthday banquet ended with me excusing myself, claiming illness. I said I felt unwell and retired to my chambers early. The next morning, I awoke to the sound of Zhao Shuo whipping his servants. "Who let her in?" I rose, draped in my robe, and stepped into the courtyard. I watched as Zhao Shuo kicked a servant to the ground. "Speak! Now, husband," I said calmly. "You are punishing your own servants. Why come to my courtyard? Such a false charade is unnecessary." "Madam." The servant kicked by Zhao Shuo crawled on his knees toward me. "Madam, last night was our negligence. We somehow let Miss Lu slip in. The Marquis knew nothing of it. If we've harmed the Marquis and Madam's relationship, we truly deserve death." I watched the self-inflicted ploy unfold, my expression impassive. The list of performers for last night's birthday celebration did not include Lu Wenin. Nor should it have, she is the courtesan of Spring Mist Pavilion. No official would ever invite her to sing at his wife's birthday banquet. Moreover, as the sole heir of the Marquis's household, Zhao Shuo hosted guests of the highest standing last night. Lu Wennin's presence would bring shame upon the entire Marquis estate. I bypassed the servant and approached Zhao Shua. Husband, we must speak. I had already realized this matter was far from simple. After I left the banquet last night, Lady Li, my closest confidant, intercepted me in the small garden and hesitantly revealed something. She said Zhao Shua and Lu Wennin had once shared a love forbidden by society. He was the sole heir of the Marquis' household, she was a courtesan of the highest rank. Yet they loved each other deeply. Zhao Shua not only spent a fortune to buy her freedom but also planned to elope with her. My heart grew colder and colder. What happened then? There was no then. Lady Li sighed. When the old lady of the home mansion learned of this, she fell gravely ill. The young Marquis, being dutiful, agreed to marry properly and never see Lu Wennin again. Marry properly? Meaning his repeated trips south to seek my hand in marriage? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Sister? I suppressed the pain in my heart. Yet my eyes grew hot. Madame Li sighed. Jean, the young Marquis truly loved you. At first, when he sought your hand, it might have been merely for your reputation as the most talented scholar lady of the South. He married for virtue, to satisfy the old lady. But later, I watched him welcome you into the mansion, playing book-betting games with you, pouring tea in the fragrance of ink. He grew to love and respect you more and more sincerely. His affair with Lu Wenyong is long behind him. Why bring it up again? Now, as I gaze into Zhao Shua's eyes, only one question lingers in my heart. Is it truly behind him? Zhao Shua met my gaze, seemed to understand something, and lowered his head. Jean, I did have a foolish past with Miss Lu, but it's all behind us now. You are my legally wedded wife, and I will be devoted only to you. I lowered my eyes. Why didn't you tell me about this past before? Zhao Shua was silent for a moment, then whispered softly, I feared you would hold it against me. Your reputation precedes you. Countless young men in the capital sought to marry you. I feared that if you knew, you might refuse to wed me. Jean, yesterday was an accident. I promise nothing like that will ever happen again. Okay? Zhao Shua embraced me, nestled in his arms. I closed my eyes and sighed silently. I wish it were so. I too wished yesterday's incident were merely an accident. Wished Zhao Shua and I could walk hand in hand through the rest of our lives. After all, I had journeyed thousands of miles to marry into the Marquis' household. This union had earned the Emperor's approval, who even bestowed a calligraphic inscription on our wedding day proclaiming us a heaven-made couple. Divorce would be no simple matter. Moreover, in the days since our marriage, Zhao Shua had indeed proven himself a good husband. Yet my intuition warned me things might not unfold as smoothly as I hoped. Sure enough, before I could even agree, a servant rushed in with news. Lady Lu had fainted at the main gate. Zhao Shua sprang to his feet and dashed toward the main gate. At the entrance of the Marquis' residence, Lu Wenyong lay beside the stone lion, her simple white gown clinging to her form. Her eyelids were tightly shut, and she remained unconscious. The Marquis' residence faced the long cobblestone street, where passers-by pointed and whispered at her. She had arrived at dawn and waited at the gate all this time, saying she wanted to apologize to me. Didn't I tell you to send her away? Zhao Shua hurriedly helped Lu Wennin up while reprimanding the gatekeeper. The servant was drenched in sweat. I tried persuading her many times, but Miss Lu refused to leave. Your lordship, please don't blame him. Lu Wennin opened her eyes in Zhao Shua's arms, weakly tugging at his sleeve. I insisted on waiting myself. I wanted to apologize to the lady in person. A lowly, ill-fated woman like Wennin. I feel so guilty for disrupting the lady's birthday banquet. Her voice was barely a whisper as she spoke these words before collapsing unconscious in Zhao Shua's arms once more. Zhao Shua scooped her up in his arms. What are you standing there for? Go fetch a physician. He barked at the servant beside him. Then, seemingly oblivious to my presence following behind, hurried toward the guest quarters with Lu Wenying in his arms. Lu Wenying lay unconscious in the Marquis's guest quarters for the entire afternoon. Meanwhile, rumors spread faster than the wind through the capital. Everyone knew that in broad daylight, the Marquis had carried the courtesan Lu into his mansion. At dusk, I went to the guest quarters. Lu Wenying had awakened. Standing at the doorway, I heard her low, choked sobs. "Your lordship, has Inger caused you trouble again?" "Inger simply longed to see you. The sisters from the music troupe said they could perform at the Marquis's residence. So Inger begged them to bring me in. I never imagined it was the lady's birthday banquet. Though I deserve death for this. Seeing you once made it worth it." Zhao Shua cut her off. "I am already married. It would be best if we never met again." Lu Wenying's voice trembled with tears. "Your lordship may forget our vows and walk hand in hand with your beautiful bride through life. But what of Inger?" Zhao Shua's voice was icy. "I will pay to free you from bondage. The world is vast, you may go wherever you wish." Lu Wenying began to weep. "Your lordship, you know full well that though the world is vast, the only place I wish to stay is by your side." Unable to bear it, I stepped inside. The moment Lu Wenying saw me, she scrambled up from the bed and knelt. "Madam." Zhao Shua pulled her up. "Your health is fragile. Stop tormenting yourself." "Madam." Zhao Shua approached me. "I've already inquired." The dress incident was the shopkeeper's mistake. Miss Lu meant no harm. I remained silent. Just then, a servant delivered the medicinal broth. "Your lordship, the medicine is ready." I snatched the bowl before Zhao Shua could reach it. "Your lordship has official duties to attend to." "I'll tend to Miss Lu." Zhao Shua's gaze faltered slightly. I lowered my eyes. "Or would your lordship prefer to stay and feed her the medicine yourself? Everyone in the capital knows your lordship carried Miss Lu into the mansion. They're just waiting to see the drama unfold, me throwing a fit. Chaos erupting." I smiled. "What? Are you going to give them what they want?" Zhao Shua stepped forward, clasping my icy fingers. "Jean, you've been wronged." He frowned at Lu Wenying. "I've instructed the physician. You'll convalesce at the clinic outside the capital henceforth." With that, he turned away, avoiding Lu Wenying's lingering gaze, and walked straight out. I sat down beside the bed, gently stirring the medicinal broth in the bowl. The moment Zhao Shua left, Lu Wenying seemed transformed. That soft, pitiful demeanor vanished. She scrutinized me from head to toe and chuckled. "They say the lady's beauty rivals jade. But seeing you today, I find it rather ordinary. Wearing that water-red silk gown. Who do you think is more beautiful, me or you?" Ignoring her provocation, I replied coolly. "I need not compare myself to you, Miss Lu. I do not serve others with my looks." Lu Wenying's breath caught. But then she laughed. "Madam, your noble character earns my admiration. It's a pity that men in this world only love beauty." I studied her, though seemingly unadorned by illness. Every detail, the stray strands at her temples, the faint redness at her eyes, was meticulously crafted. Truly like Shishir clutching her heart, a sickly beauty who evoked pity at first sight. Miss Lu is indeed beautiful. But if she doesn't take her medicine properly, that beauty won't last. I summoned 2 trusted maidservants, one on each side. They held her down as I forced the medicine into her mouth. Lu Wenying choked and coughed violently as I made her swallow it, the black liquid splashing all over her. Her gaze fixed on me, filled with hatred. "Su Jin, just you wait. The one in the Marquis's heart will always be me." Night fell, devoid of stars or moon. Lu Wenying was sent by Zhao Shua to a clinic on the outskirts of the capital. He came to my room, clad in a simple blue brocade robe. Yet, worn by him, it exuded an air of grace and elegance, like bamboo and jade. I gazed upon his handsome features. Yet my heart was filled only with sorrow. Had I never loved Zhao Shuo, it would have been different. But the opposite was true. When I accompanied my father to the capital, I attended a polo match for young nobles. On the field, my horse suddenly bolted in fright, sending everyone scattering in panic. Only Zhao Shuo stepped forward alone, ultimately seizing the reins with force. He helped the terrified me down from the horse. His smile as serene as a clear moon after a breeze. I am Zhao Shuo, the only son of the Yonla Marquis, a young marquis of unparalleled nobility. I thought our connection ended there. Yet years later, at my home in Jiangnan, I learned he had personally come to ask for my hand in marriage. My parents were delighted. Zhao Shuo was handsome and noble, and the Yonla Marquis' household was known for its integrity. They didn't allow concubines. So my family and I felt completely at ease about this marriage. Too at ease, in fact. Which is why we never thought to send someone to the capital to investigate Zhao Shuo's past. Now, Zhao Shuo approached me, wrapping his arms around me from behind. "Jiyin," he murmured softly, "are you displeased? If you're displeased, punish me." I gave a wry smile. Even the emperor would think twice before punishing you. How could I dare? What the emperor cannot punish, his wife may. Zhao Shuo breathed against my ear. "My lady, tell me, how would you wish to punish me?" My heart was in turmoil. Countless thoughts collided within my chest. Part of me wanted to push Zhao Shuo away, to tell him that an unfaithful man was unworthy of my affection. Yet another part yearned to hold him tight, to remind him that we had pledged our lives to each other before heaven and earth, vowing to be one soul for all eternity. Outside the window, the night sky, thick with dark clouds, finally unleashed a torrential downpour. The roar of wind and rain grew fierce, punctuated by the faint whimpering of a kitten. Moments later, I heard the maid's panicked voice, "Miss Liu, you can't go in." Zhao Shuo's expression hardened. He dashed into the rain, his voice icy. "Lu Wenyong, my wife's courtyard is no place for you to trespass. I've already said we needn't meet again. Don't keep pushing your luck." Zhao Shuo froze mid-sentence, for he saw clearly, in the torrential downpour, a soaked Lu Wenying clutched a small kitten tightly, shielding it with her own body. Ingner doesn't want to trouble your lordship anymore," she murmured softly, her body shivering from the bone-chilling cold. But this kitten ran into the estate. It was the last gift the Marquis gave me. I feared something might happen to it, so I shamelessly begged the gatekeeper to let me in. "Marquis, it probably misses you." Lu Wenying held the kitten close and lifted her head to look at Zhao Shuo. She tried to stand, wanting to place the kitten into Zhao Shuo's arms. Yet her legs were weak. As soon as she rose, she stumbled and fell back to the ground. Summoning every ounce of strength, she stood once more, still holding the kitten. "Your Excellency." Lu Wenying swayed dangerously, teetering on the brink of collapse before she could finish her sentence. Zhao Shuo could no longer hold back. He stepped forward, gathering the soaking wet Lu Wenying into his arms. Weakly, Lu Wenying rested against Zhao Shuo's chest, lifting her gaze to meet mine. Through the curtain of rain, our eyes locked. Her eyes held hatred, yet also triumph. Hatred that I had taken her Zhao Shuo. Triumph that she had snatched him back. The rain fell heavily, yet within my chest, it felt as though everything had suddenly grown still. All other thoughts vanished, leaving only one choice. I left the ill-fated lovers embracing in the rain behind and turned straight for the back gate. Prepare the sedan chair. To the Empress Dowager's palace. My sedan chair exited through the back gate. But before we had traveled half a li, a black stallion caught up from behind, blocking our path. The rider leaped down, strode directly to the sedan chair, and yanked open the curtain. A flash of lightning split the night sky, illuminating his face. Zhao Shua was soaked through, rainwater streaming down his temples. His dark eyes fixed on me, his tone colder than usual. Jian, where are you going? I met his gaze, enunciating each syllable. To request an imperial decree of divorce. The moment those words left my lips, I clearly saw a flicker of panic in Zhao Shua's eyes. Jean, this is no trivial matter. It is no trivial matter, I replied in a deep voice. Su Jean. Zhao Shua suddenly erupted in anger. You are my legally wedded wife. For life and forever. I never wish to hear the words divorce from your lips again. He barked at the sedan bearers, returned to the mansion. The bearers froze, hesitating to move. Is the mistress throwing a tantrum? And you're joining in? Zhao Shua raised his whip, lashing it against the bearers. Back to the mansion. The porters, fearing him, finally turned the sedan chair around. Despair threatened to spill from my heart. I pushed Zhao Shua away, trying to leap from the sedan chair. He grabbed me, pulling me back into his embrace. I struggled, but he held me fast. A cold kiss, carrying the scent of rain, landed on my lips, silencing my cries. Unable to push him away, I bit down hard with my teeth. The taste of blood spread, yet Zhao Shua didn't pull away. After a moment, he released me and wiped the blood from his chin. It's all right, Jean. His voice was low and gentle. I know you're angry. Punish me however you wish. Once you're done, come back with me. Zhao Shua forcibly brought me back to the manor. He hoisted me down from the sedan chair. My cries were drowned out by the rain-soaked night as he carried me through the courtyard. That courtyard had once been filled with flowers and plants. When I first married in, Zhao Shua knew I loved flowers. So he planted each one himself. Yet in the torrential downpour, every blossom fell from its stem, leaving only a carpet of shattered crimson. Zhao Shua carried me onto the large bed in the bedroom. When he tried to kiss me, I smashed the blue and white porcelain vase on the bedside table. I clutched the shards in my hand, pointing them at him. Squeezing too hard, I cut my palm. Dark crimson blood trickled down the snow-white porcelain, a sight that was startlingly vivid. Don't come near me, I croaked. Zhao Shua still tried to approach, Jean. He wasn't afraid. So I held the shards horizontally before my throat. Take one more step, and I'll do it. Zhao Shua's footsteps halted. He retreated. Don't hurt yourself. We'll talk tomorrow, Jean. As Zhao Shua left the room, he murmured my name softly. Tied by marriage, loving and trusting each other without doubt, that was my vow on our wedding day. And I would never break it. Perhaps I imagined it. But Zhao Shua's eyes seemed to glisten with tears. But I was too weary to probe further. Get out. Zhao Shua left. Alone in the room, I clutched the porcelain shard and drifted into a dazed sleep. When I awoke, my cut hand was bandaged, and every sharp object in the room had vanished. Outside the door, shadowy figures shifted, Zhao Shua's household guards, surrounding the entire bedroom. I propped myself up, only to be struck by a splitting headache. My body felt as if lead had been poured into it, and I collapsed back onto the bed. The maidservant outside heard the movement and hurried in. The mistress caught a chill last night and has fallen ill. Here is the medicine bowl. The Marquis summoned a physician to examine her, personally supervised the preparation of this decoction, and instructed us in every detail of her care. The Marquis truly adores the mistress. I watched the maid's lips move before me, feeling only exhaustion. Where are you, Shu? I pushed away the medicine the maid held to my lips. Along with Yuhua and Yuqin. Have them come to attend to me. These girls, who had accompanied me from Jiangnan as part of my dowry, were my true confidants within this Marquis' residence. Yet none were present now. Instead, the maid serving me belonged to Zhao Shuo. The maid faltered slightly, unsure how to respond, when Zhao Shuo entered. They've all been well taken care of. Anger surged in my chest. I bit my lip. Zhao Shuo, you've confined them too, haven't you? Zhao Shuo didn't answer. He took the medicine bowl from the maid. The maid sensed the tension and left, leaving only the two of us in the room. I haven't mistreated them, I've merely confined them to the courtyard. Zhao Shuo stirred the liquid in the bowl. I feared they might go to the Empress Dowager's palace and spread nonsense, stirring up trouble. I was nearly laughing in anger. Zhao Shuo, do you intend to keep me locked up like this forever? Of course not. Zhao Shuo tested the medicine's temperature, finding it too hot. So he blew on it. Jean, once you're no longer angry with me, we'll be just as we were before. Right now, I can't let you leave. I'm afraid you'll abandon me. He cooled the medicine and brought it to my lips. I stared at him coldly. He looked at me and smiled helplessly. Be good. Drink your medicine obediently. I've even prepared a sweet soup for you. Sure enough, beside his hand sat a bowl of silver ear fungus and lotus seed soup. When I first married into the capital, I fell ill from the unfamiliar climate. Back then, Zhao Shuo personally fed me medicine, knowing I hated bitterness. He always had someone prepare sweet soup beforehand, coaxing me to swallow the bitter first, then savor the sweet. He never understood that some bitterness cannot be washed away with sweetness. I picked up the bowl of silver ear fungus soup and dumped it directly onto Zhao Shuo. The sticky liquid flowed down, instantly staining his cloud-white robe beyond recognition. Zhao Shuo lowered his eyelids, his lashes trembling as if suppressing rage. Born into nobility, he had scarcely ever endured such disrespect. Perhaps this was why, in his reckless youth, he could cause a citywide uproar over a mere courtesan. Zhao Shuo, I beg you, let us stop this mutual torment. My head throbbed as if it would split open, each word draining every ounce of strength. Marrying Lu Wenin would indeed bring gossip. But beyond that, who could truly harm you? The Marquis of Yola? Besides, you've never feared rumors. You married me only for the sake of the old lady. Now that she has passed away and you have fulfilled your filial duty, why must I remain in this mansion? I waited for Zhao Shuo to explode at me, but he didn't. After a moment, he picked up a silk handkerchief and wiped the dirt from his chest. I married you because Su Jin is the one I wish to spend my life with, not for my mother. He looked intently into my eyes. I responded with a scoff. Zhao Shuo stood up. I could feel his patience had run out. I know you care about my past with Miss Lu and don't believe what I'm saying now. If that's the case, I'll buy her freedom immediately and find her another husband. Once she's married, we'll live as husband and wife as we did before. Is that acceptable? No. I desperately wanted to tell Zhao Shuo no, but I had no strength left. And Zhao Shuo wouldn't listen to anything. He took 1,000 taels of gold and sent someone to fetch the most renowned matchmaker in the capital. Together, they went to the Spring Mist Pavilion. Downstairs, the 1,000 taels of gold were exchanged for Lu Wenin's freedom. The matchmaker, accompanied by a maid, went straight upstairs to Lu Wenin's boudoir. She meticulously listed all the noble princes and aristocrats in the capital seeking concubines, as well as commoners willing to marry her as their primary wife. Lu Wenin was to simply tell the matchmaker which suitor she preferred. Lu Wenin listened quietly as the matchmaker finished, then asked her to wait outside. Moments later, the matchmaker heard a noise from within and, sensing something amiss, hurriedly pushed open the door. Oh no! Miss Lu has hanged herself. The matchmaker let out a heart-wrenching scream. Zhao Shuo rushed in with his men, severed the rope with a single stroke of his sword, and pulled Lu Wenin down. Rather die clinging to fragrance on the branch than be blown away by the north wind. These were the first words Lu Wenyin uttered. Weeping. Upon regaining consciousness. Tears streaming down her face. She pleaded, "Your lordship. I know your wife disapproves of you taking a concubine. But if she forbids me from marrying into your household, does that mean she also forbids me from dying?" The crowd grew thicker. The girls of the Spring Mist Pavilion, feeling a kinship of sorrow, wept together in a heap. For a time, the second floor of the pavilion echoed with their wails. The patrons of Spring Mist Pavilion were all young nobles from the capital. They had once mocked Zhao Shuo for disgracing his family over Lu Wenying. But now, witnessing this tragic love that led to her death, the sheer poignancy and ferocity of it moved even them. They began urging Zhao Shuo to reconsider. Miss Wenying is so fiercely loyal. Such genuine affection in a place of pleasure is truly rare in this world. Brother Zhao. Miss Lu merely wished to become a concubine, she never harbored any improper desires. A tale of a talented scholar and a beautiful maiden, a noble story of rescuing one from the dusty world. Wouldn't your wife be willing to grant this favor? Exactly. If Miss Lu truly dies over this, your wife might even earn a reputation for fierce jealousy. And so, while listening to the rain beneath the eaves, I learned of Zhao Shuo's intention to take a concubine. The messenger was Yu Hua, my dowry maid. Zhao Shuo permitted her to care for me, though neither of us could leave the Marquis's residence. Miss, the Marquis says, Miss Lu is still a human life. He fears if she dies, it will tarnish your reputation. Yu Hua's eyes were reddened as she spoke. I found a handkerchief and wiped the tears from her face. Why cry over nothing? How could I not cry? Yu Hua wiped her tears, only to find them flowing more freely. Being a woman is truly hard. If you don't marry, outsiders say you're unwanted, so your reputation suffers. If you marry, and your husband chases after other women, outsiders say you're an incompetent wife who can't keep her husband, so your reputation suffers. If she stops him from straying, people will call her a jealous shrew, still a bad reputation. Yu Hua wiped her face hard with her sleeve. If I'd known it would always be a bad reputation, I'd never have married. We could have stayed in Jiangnan, picking water chestnuts and admiring lotus flowers. How blissful that would have been. I smiled, gazing at the endless curtain of rain. Yu Hua, do you want to go back to Jiangnan? Yes. Yu Hua wept even harder. But miss, we can't go back. We can. I spoke softly yet firmly. Trust me. We can return. That evening, Zhao Shuo came to see me. I'd never seen him so cautious and careful. I've granted her the status of a concubine, but she won't enter the Marquis's residence. She'll reside in a separate house I've arranged outside the estate. From now on, this mansion will remain just the two of us. After speaking, Zhao Shuo studied my expression. He was waiting for me to cry or protest. If I blamed him, he would have to endure it, after all. He was the one who declared before leaving that he would sever all ties with Lu Wenying, and he was the one who returned with a concubine. Yet I did not. I merely smiled faintly. Very well. Let it be as you say. Zhao Shuo raised an eyebrow, flattered and surprised. I brushed powder from his shoulder with a light smile. What? I've conceded. And now you're displeased? Of course not. He murmured. Jiyin, I simply didn't expect such magnanimity from you. I envy you. And you're displeased. I'm magnanimous. And you're disappointed. I smiled. Being the Marquise's wife is truly no easy task. Zhao Shuo's throat moved, as if he wanted to say more, but I had already turned to fetch the wine bottle and cup. This is my own brew. Let us drink ourselves drunk. My husband. It had been a long time since I'd called him that. Zhao Shuo looked both delighted and hesitant. He recognized this wine. This spring water brew, weren't we supposed to open it on our 3rd wedding anniversary? He asked. Why open it today? Because we won't have a third anniversary. I thought silently. Yet outwardly. I merely smiled faintly. The climate here in the capital differs from the south. Storing this wine longer would spoil its flavor. Let us drink it tonight. Spring water brew poured into the celadon cups. We drank together, facing each other, as the sound of raindrops fell outside the eaves. When the wine was finished, I said, "My lord, you should go now." I rose to see him off. Tonight was originally the day Lu Wenyin was to enter the household. She had been placed in the outer residence, so Zhao Shuan needed to go there. Lu Wenyin must be quite happy, I thought. In a sense, this was also her wedding day to Zhao Shua. Zhao Shua stood up. His eyes filled with struggle. Jean. I'll have a drink with her and return to the manor tonight. I won't stay overnight. His words were firm, but I didn't take them at face value. Zhao Shua is that kind of man. When he makes a vow, he means it sincerely. He doesn't intend to deceive you. But it's also true that he cannot keep his vows. In the past, this always left me weary and pained. But not now. A gentle smile touched my lips as I nodded. My tone earnest. Very well. I'll wait for your return. He held me tightly, then reluctantly released me and walked toward the manor gates. Though it was only a few dozen steps, Zhao Shua turned back several times. I remained standing where I was, watching him depart. So when he looked back, our gazes met across the distance. Let him remember the look in my eyes at this moment. Whether he interprets it as reluctance or something else is no longer my concern. After Zhao Shua left, the smile faded from my face. Returning alone to my chambers, Yushu approached me. Among all the bridal maids, she was the eldest, steady in temperament, and the one I relied on most. "Miss, everything is prepared," Yushu whispered. I nodded. Yushu still hesitated. Should we tell Yuhua and the others the truth? No. I shook my head. They're too young to keep secrets. We'll tell them later. Yushu looked reluctant, but she understood this was best. As night fell completely, Yushu left. Lying on my bed, I saw the black pill she'd left by my pillow. I swallowed it and closed my eyes. Zhao Shua must be performing the marriage rites with Lu Wenyin now. And my heart, wounded beyond repair, could finally find release. Vague scenes of my hometown floated before my eyes, the water town with its white walls and black tiles, green leaves and red flowers, a black-roofed boat gliding through the lotus pond, a song drifting faintly out. All say the south is fair, but travelers should stay till old age. Spring waters bluer than the sky. On painted boats, we sleep through the rain. By the wine shop, a maiden fair, her white wrists like frost and snow. Don't return home while young, for homecoming breaks the heart. How lovely. At last, I could go home. Zhao Shua's perspective. Zhao Shua told Su Jin he'd return after a drink. Instead, he stayed with Lu Wenyin for 3 full days. Before reaching the outer residence, he truly intended to return after a brief visit. He had already wronged Jean too many times. Lingering longer would only widen the rift between them. Yet upon arriving at the outer residence, he discovered Lu Wenyin had transformed the bedroom into a wedding chamber. Concubines were only permitted to wear pink bridal robes. Yet beneath her pink outer garment, Lu Wenyin wore a layer of crimson wedding attire. Alone in the chamber now, she slipped off her outer robe, revealing the deep red lining beneath. Your humble servant knows this defies convention, she said. But I am also a woman. Before my father's conviction and the confiscation of our family estate, Ingner was an unmarried daughter of an official, destined only to wear the phoenix crown and bridal robes to marry her beloved. A flicker of pity stirred in Zhao Shua's heart. He told Lu Wenyin he would not stay the night, that he would leave after a cup of wine. Lu Wenyin wept. She showed him the large red double happiness characters she had cut by hand and the bed strewn with peanuts and jujubes. Your Excellency, this is our wedding night. Are you truly going to leave me here alone? Red candles dripped wax as Lu Wenying wept. Pitiful and vulnerable. Zhao Shua's heart softened. He drank the cup of wine, thinking, then I shall stay a little longer. Zhao Shua had clearly drunk only 3 cups. Yet the wine proved shockingly potent. Soon, he felt a burning heat, a hazy drowsiness, and an overwhelming surge of desire he could not contain. Lu Wenying had laced the wine with a potion. Only much later did Zhao Shua learn of Lu Wenying's scheme. She wanted a child. In her scheme, once she conceived, Su Jin would inevitably quarrel with Zhao Shua, and his patience was finite. The rift between the couple would only deepen. And the deeper it grew, the less likely they would share a bed. Thus, her child would be the only heir. It mattered little that Zhao Shua had placed her in the outer residence now, the Marquisite's lineage depended on her. And sooner or later, he would bring her back. Lu Wenying knew her lowly origins barred her from becoming the primary wife. But it didn't matter. As long as everything proceeded smoothly. Whether wife or concubine was merely a title. Ultimately, she would become the true mistress of the Marquis's residence. The potion's effects were potent. After 3 days of debauchery, Zhao Shua finally sobered up. He demanded to return to the manor. Lu Wenying did not stop him. After all, she had already obtained everything she desired. She even sent one of her maidservants back to the mansion with Zhao Shua. Ostensibly, it was to care for him. But in reality, she intended for the maid to find an opportunity to inform Su Jin that the Marquis had favored concubine Lu for 3 full days, further provoking her. However, the maid returned in a panic after only half a day. Madam, it's terrible. Su Jin is dead. The Marquis. He's gone mad. Zhao Shua sat in his bedroom. It must have been an illusion. He told himself. She was merely asleep. Indeed. Su Jin lay before him. Her features serene. Truly as if she were only sleeping. Yet when he reached out to test her, there was no breath. No pulse. Servants knelt in a chaotic heap, murmuring in disarray, Your Lordship. Please compose yourself. Su Jin's chief maid, Yu Shu, knelt foremost. Her eyes red-rimmed as she reported. The mistress had been deeply depressed for a long time. Upon learning the Marquis intended to take a concubine, she lost all will to live and resolved to die. Thus, when your lordship went to consummate the marriage with Lu Wenying, she swallowed the poison she had prepared beforehand. By the time she was discovered, her body was already cold. Yushu was still the most composed among them. As for the younger maidservants like Yuhua and Yuqin, they wept as if their hearts would break. When they looked at him, their eyes seemed almost to devour him. All of this reminded Zhao Shua. Su Jin was truly gone. She would never speak again. Never smile. Never blush shyly when he lifted her from the horse's back. What had she been thinking as she watched him walk toward another woman? And though he had turned back many times, he had never returned to her side. If only he hadn't left then. Zhao Shua suddenly coughed up blood. Then darkness engulfed his vision as he lost consciousness. Zhao Shua lay in bed for many days. Lu Wenying's potions had already drained his body, and Su Jin's death had awakened his inner demons. Physicians visited many times, pouring endless streams of medicinal decoctions into him, barely keeping him clinging to life. During this time, he struggled to rise once, going to Su Jin's funeral hall. The funeral arrangements were handled by people sent from the Su family. Leading them was a young man with a cold, composed face, Su Jin's younger brother. In a daze, Zhao Shua tried to rush toward the coffin but was held back by this young Master Su and his men. Your Excellency, what are you doing? Zhao Shua stared blankly at the coffin. He wanted to die with Su Jin. They had slept together in the same wedding bed. Now, he wanted to lie down in this coffin and sleep with her forever. I won't dwell on my sister's life. Su Gongzi's voice was icy. Now, I only ask that your lordship grant her final peace. The Su family carried Su Jin's coffin away. They said she disliked the capital's climate. So her spirit returned to her homeland. She should be buried in Jiangnan. And so Su Jin vanished, leaving Zhao Shua not even a gravestone. For the next 3 years, Zhao Shua didn't know how he got through them. He often sat beneath the eaves during rain, mimicking her habit of listening to the downpour, recalling every detail connected to her. The first time he visited her home, she peered out cautiously from behind the curtain. Spotting him, she immediately ducked back. So adorable, like a startled fawn. The Su family was a distinguished clan of Jiangnan, renowned for generations. As the eldest legitimate daughter, Su Jin's poetry composed in her maiden chamber at 15 reached the capital, stunning literati and poets alike, spreading her literary fame far and wide. When he came to propose marriage, the Su family initially refused. They had intended to send Su Jin to the imperial palace to become an imperial consort. By comparison, he was not particularly distinguished. Though his marquisate held a high rank, it was essentially a ceremonial position, relying solely on the ancestral prestige left by the old marquis's military achievements. But she loved him and argued with her family many times. Her family cherished her deeply. Faced with the choice between familial glory and their daughter's happiness, they relented and allowed her to marry him. She was an exceptionally devoted wife. When his stomach ached, she sought out countless remedies, meticulously preparing nourishing meals for him. When the dowager of the marquisate passed away, leaving him in profound grief, she stayed by his side, repeating over and over, "My lord, you still have me." She was his closest confidant, bound to him for life, never to part. When he and Lu Wenin were forced apart, Zhao Shua believed he would pine for her forever, each memory piercing his heart with agony. Yet later, as he held the soup Su Jin had prepared for him, the name Lu Wenin stirred in his mind. And strangely, the pain felt less intense. The lover who had dazzled him in his youth faded with time. Waking in the dead of night, he gazed upon Su Jin sleeping peacefully beside him and felt only contentment. Now, when he awoke from his slumber and reached for her, he could only touch coldness. Zhao Shua had not brought Lu Wenin into the mansion. Alone in the vast, empty marquis's residence, he remained solitary. He began coughing up blood. He consulted numerous physicians, even sought the imperial physicians at the palace, and took one dose of medicine after another. Yet his condition fluctuated without improvement. Half a year later, Lu Wenying gave birth. It was a girl. Lu Wenying was disappointed and paid her little attention, leaving her solely in the care of the wet nurse. The wet nurse and maids, however, doted on the child. They took turns holding her, amusing her, watching her grow day by day. One day, Zhao Shua overheard them whispering, "This child. She doesn't seem to resemble the marquis at all." As if a cold blade had pierced straight through Zhao Shua's heart. He didn't react immediately. Instead, he quietly investigated for months, confirming his suspicions. Whenever Zhao Shua had gone to the Spring Mist Pavilion to find Lu Wenin, a young servant had always guided him there. That servant had rosy lips, pearly teeth, and handsome features. But what stood out most were his eyes, pupils of a pale amber hue. And this child. Her pupils were also a pale amber color. Zhao Shua summoned Lu Wenyong and revealed his discoveries. Lu Wenyong wept again. Through her tears, she declared her undying devotion to Zhao Shua, blaming the young servant for coveting her beauty and drugging her. Zhao Shua watched her sob, self-harm, and threaten suicide with calm detachment. Suddenly, He realized he felt nothing at all. When his emotions finally faded, he was astonished to realize that every one of Lu Wening's tactics had been identical. Even the angle of her tears was always the same, revealing her most beautiful profile, adopting the most pitiable posture. Every tear was calculated, every line meticulously crafted. Zhao Shua suddenly found it laughable. Come to think of it, he was only 17 when he first met Lu Wening. But she had entered the Spring Mist Pavilion at 11. Raised and trained by the matrons there. Having spent nearly a decade in the entertainment world. The music she played for him, the songs she sang, the words she spoke, all were merely techniques taught by the matron, performed for countless others besides him. And yet he had mistaken this polished artistry for genuine sincerity. Truthfully, he had once received that sincerity, just once. But he had destroyed it with his own hands. Another 3 years passed. Zhao Shua had aged considerably. Though in the prime of his life, everyone who saw this young man sensed a heavy, dusky aura about him. Lu Wening had been dead for a long time. Grass growing over her grave. He had killed her by accident. He had forgotten the exact details, remembering only her coming to him, crying, asking if he was thinking of Su Jin, which was why he refused to share her bed. The mere mention of Su Jin's name had sent him into a violent rage, and he had smashed a vase over Lu Wening's head. The emperor, mindful of his father's military merits, had spared him harsher punishment. Yet the incident's repercussions were devastating. The Yonla Marquis' household, already tarnished in the capital, was now utterly disgraced. The Marquisite's decline was swift. He dismissed most of his household and remained alone, often sitting in silence for entire days. If he had done any good deed at all, it was likely bringing Lu Wening's child to that servant boy. The boy cherished his daughter deeply. He took out his savings and planned to leave the capital with her. Where? Zhao Shua asked him. Jiangnan. The servant replied. Everyone says Jiangnan is the best place to live. Where travelers should grow old, I want my daughter to grow up there. She'll likely blossom into a gentle, beautiful, and well-educated young lady. Because of those 8 words, Zhao Shua gave the servant a generous reward. The servant departed with endless thanks, completely baffled as to why the Marquis had been so kind to him. Truthfully, it was simply because Zhao Shua recalled that she, too, had grown up in Jiangnan, graceful and beautiful, well-read and refined. Indeed it was so. Let that innocent little girl grow up in Jiangnan. The filth and ugliness of her parents' generation should not be her burden. Zhao Shua himself longed to see Jiangnan. Just then, rebels rose in the southwest. The emperor issued an edict to suppress them, and Zhao Shua volunteered to lead the campaign. He took a detour through Jiangnan, hoping for one last glimpse. Zhao Shua never imagined he would encounter Su Jin in Jiangnan. In a tailor's shop, he recognized a familiar voice. This silk skirt is lovely. It was Yu Hua, the chattering little maid. But it's water red. This was Yu Qin, her Wu dialect thickest. Water red isn't suitable. Perhaps the young lady should choose another? This was Yu Shu, her voice always steady, mirroring her temperament. Zhao Shua held his breath. The next moment, he heard a voice that had only appeared in his dreams for many years. What's wrong with the color? The young lady's voice was gentle and clear. I like water red. Here. I'll try it on. Zhao Shua stepped into the tailor's shop. Through layers of fabric and wooden racks, he saw her emerge wearing a water-red silk skirt, just like at that birthday banquet years ago. She glided toward him, smiling and asking, "What do you think?" All the maids fell silent. In the shop, he and the woman locked eyes. After a long moment, the woman gave a soft laugh and said to Yushu, "Take them outside first." The maids departed, leaving only the two of them in the room. Jean. Zhao Shua heard his own voice trembling. You faked your death. Didn't you? That medicine was for feigning death. You didn't die. You used this method. He couldn't finish the sentence. Because the second half was, she used this method to escape him completely. After a long pause, the woman smiled. She took half a step back, curtsying with formal propriety, a gesture of detachment. Young master. The past cannot be reclaimed. Not all former acquaintances require reunion. Snow was rare in the South. From childhood to adulthood, Sujin had scarcely ever witnessed snowfall in her hometown. But this year, not only did snowflakes drift from the sky, but a thick layer also accumulated on the ground. Some said this unusual weather was an omen born from the unrest in the southwest. Zhao Shuo had knelt in the Su residence for 7 days. Su Jin's father and younger brother had both tried to persuade him, even forcibly removed him, but he refused to leave. Her brother sighed to Su Jin. What does he want? Su Jin smiled. I'll go speak with him. You still want to see him? Don't worry. After this meeting, he'll leave. Zhao Shuo knelt in the snow, his entire body numb with cold. Finally, he saw a figure in a water-red gown emerge from the snowy expanse, walking slowly toward him. His eyes lit up instantly. Su Jin approached him, draped in a fiery crimson cloak. Such a vivid color was subdued by her dignified grace, making her resemble a winter plum blossom blooming in the snow. She held an umbrella over his head, shielding him from the swirling snowstorm. Zhao Shuo suddenly felt a pain unlike any he had ever known. He had hoped she would rage, hoped she would seek revenge, or even ignore him as she had for the past 6 days. That way, he could still cling to a sliver of hope. But not like this, not like encountering a complete stranger who kindly held an umbrella over him. He trembled as he gazed into Su Jin's eyes, searching for something within them. Yet there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. Her eyes were clear and serene, reflecting the vast expanse of snowy whiteness. Jin. His voice quivered. I was wrong. She smiled softly. What's past is past. Let it be. Zhao Shuo's heart plummeted into an icy abyss, unable to utter another word. She had truly let go. Your Excellency. Take care. Su Jin left the umbrella by his side and turned to walk away. Zhao Shuo did not rise to follow. He gazed longingly at her retreating figure, craving to imprint her image forever in his heart. The snow fell relentlessly, yet she never once looked back. In that moment, Zhao Shuo knew he had lost Su Jin completely. Winter passed swiftly. On days when warmth hadn't fully arrived yet, I huddled in the room with Yushu and Yuhua, shelling water chestnuts to eat. We also sent a portion to the young master. I told them to take some food for my younger brother. My brother hadn't slept well lately. With unrest in the southwest, our hometown had strengthened its defenses. All intelligence passed through him, and he'd pulled several all-nighters. Only yesterday, when news of victory arrived that the rioters had been suppressed, did he finally rest briefly. But before Yushu could deliver the food, my brother came to find me. He brought news. Zhao Shuo was dead. Zhao Shuo died the night before the uprising was quelled. His stomach ailment had worsened, making him unfit for frontline combat. Yet he insisted on going. His steed, Wuzue, carried him deep into enemy territory. He never returned. Exhausted from battle, he was cut down from his horse by a mob member's blade. The enraged, desperate mob trampled back and forth on his body. The noble son of the Marquis's household, in the end, not even his remains were left behind. Sister. Sister. I heard my younger brother calling my name. I snapped out of my reverie. Are you all right? I'm fine. I whispered softly. You're exhausted. Go rest first. Don't worry about me. After my brother left, I leaned against the wall and stood quietly for a moment. Yushu and the others hadn't heard my brother's words. They huddled around the brazier, roasting chestnuts over the fire. This was my moment alone. Gazing at the embers in the brazier, my vision blurred. They transformed into the red candles burning on our wedding night. The flickering candle flames cast the outline of Zhao Shuo's face. He spoke, enunciating each word, tied by marriage vows. Our love shall never waver. I, Zhao Shuo, swear to remain with my lawful wife, Su Jin, for one lifetime, one soul, one pair. Should I break this vow? May my body be torn to pieces. Now, he had fulfilled the oath he had sworn with his own lips. A single tear slid from the corner of my eye, falling to the ground where it spread into a tiny watery bloom. Yet, it was but a single tear. Yu Hua, Yu Qin, how could you two roast all the chestnuts without saving any for me? Yu Shu, give them both a good ear twist. I dashed to the charcoal brazier, rubbing my hands as I joined the playful commotion. Laughter filled the room. Outside the window, the sunlight grew warmer, and spring's embrace was in full bloom. The river will soon thaw. Then, on the black-roofed boats, the fisherwomen will sing once more. All say the south is fair, but travelers should grow old here only. Spring waters bluer than the sky. On painted boats. Sleep through the rain. By the wine shop. A moon-like face. Her white wrists like frost and snow. Don't return home before your time, for homecoming brings heartbreak's pain. The affairs of the capital are all past dust, now faded into old dreams, scattered far and wide. But in the south, I still have many beautiful scenes to see. The end.